human William Afton. Before the legends, before the monsters, before the name Afton became synonymous with evil, he was just a man. William Afton, inventor, businessman, father. On paper, his life looked ordinary, almost respectable. But behind the scenes, he worked with a completely different set of values. Afton wasn't driven by profit or safety or even success. He was driven by curiosity, a curiosity that had no limits. He believed the human soul was just another system to study, and children were simply the easiest test subjects. Every disappearance that haunted the early days of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza led back to him, but no evidence ever stuck. Because William always operated in the shadows. No matter how horrific the act, he carried himself like a man who knew he'd never face consequences. Spring Bonnie. To carry out his crimes, Afton needed something that made kids feel safe, something that let him walk right up to them without suspicion. The perfect disguise. And that disguise came in the shape of the Spring Bonnie suit. Wearing that yellow rabbit costume, he became a performer everyone trusted. No one questioned it when Spring Bonnie led a child to the back rooms. No one wondered why the suit kept vanishing during missing child cases. It was a mask built not just to conceal his face, but to erase his guilt. Inside that suit, Afton felt untouchable, hidden, powerful. And the more he got away with, the more confident he became. The Spring Bonnie suit wasn't just a tool, it was the physical form of Afton's deception. A smiling, friendly shell wrapped around the darkest intentions imaginable. Springtrap eventually, even the most careful predators make mistakes. And in a forgotten backroom, surrounded by the ghosts of the children he murdered, Afton finally ran out of places to hide. Panicked, he slipped into the Spring Bonnie suit one last time. And that's when his past literally collapsed onto him. The spring lock snapped, his ribs shattered, metal tore through flesh. The man who thought he could outsmart death was suddenly trapped inside the very machine he trusted most. But William Afton didn't die. He refused to die. What crawled out years later wasn't a man and wasn't a suit. It was Springtrap, a disgusting fusion of decayed flesh, rusted metal, and pure hatred. His body was dead, but something inside kept moving, kept thinking, kept hunting. Springtrap represented Afton's greatest failure and his most horrifying rebirth all at once. A man who should have rotted away forever, but didn't. Scraptrap. Time destroys everything, except William Afton. By the time he resurfaced in the events of FNAF 6, his body had deteriorated far beyond what any human should survive. Bones exposed, flesh missing, animatronic parts jutting out like broken armor. This version of Afton, known as Scraptrap, was held together by almost nothing. No elegance, no disguise, no plan. Just a stubborn refusal to let go. His movements were shakier, his appearance far more monstrous. But his intentions? Still the same. Still obsessed, still hungry. Scraptrap wasn't trying to hide anymore. He had nothing left to protect. Not a business, not a reputation, not even his body. All he had left was the obsession that guided him from the start, and that obsession would carry him into the fire. Glitchtrap even after that fire, Afton discovered a new way to survive, one that didn't rely on flesh or machinery. When Fazbear Entertainment created a VR training game, they unknowingly revived him. In the mountains of old code and salvaged data, a fragment of Afton's consciousness reawakened. This fragment took on a new form. A purple rabbit with an unsettling smile and unnatural movements. This was Glitchtrap, a digital ghost with William's voice, William's thoughts, and William's hunger to return. Unlike his physical forms, Glitchtrap didn't need a body. He didn't need a suit. He needed a host. Through subtle suggestions, hypnotic sequences, and psychological manipulation, Glitchtrap started infecting players, pulling them into his world and slowly taking control. This wasn't William Afton revived. This was William Afton upgraded. Burntrap deep beneath the mega pizzaplex, past layers of concrete and forgotten ruins, something stirred in the darkness. A corpse that should have turned to dust long ago. A man so charred you could barely recognize his face. This was Burntrap, the last physical remnant of William Afton. His body was mangled beyond repair, but he was being kept alive by wires, machinery, and whatever twisted force had kept him moving for decades. Despite everything, the fires, the decay, the digital resurrection, Afton still tried to reclaim control, still tried to rebuild himself, still tried to cheat the ending he earned 1,000 times over. Burntrap wasn't powerful. He wasn't intimidating. He was pathetic, a broken monster crawling toward a goal he'd already lost. Yet, even then, he kept going, because that's who William Afton is, a man who refuses to stay dead.